Let's look at a slightly different, well, very different division method that will get us the same answer. We're finding the quotient and remainder using synthetic division. And when we are done, we're going to write our answer in slightly different form, quotient plus remainder over what we are dividing by. And some of your homework problems will write your answer in that form. Okay? So, we have a division problem. Of course, you can do long division if you want to. That's up to you. Some students are very good with long division and they just keep on using that method because it works every time. But if you want to do something a little different, I'm going to introduce you to this new division method called synthetic division. Okay? Here's how I start. Notice that we are dividing by x minus 5. Looking at x minus 5, I get that c is equal to 5. Are you okay with that? I almost solve, well, I said c, but I said x equals 5. I should say x equals 5. I set it equal to 0, and then I solve for it. That's how I got x equals positive 5. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little box in the corner and put the 5 in here. This is a number that I will multiply every time. Okay? Now, on the other side, I am going to write the coefficients. Starting with 3. The leading coefficient is 3. So you write down 3 first. What is the next coefficient? Not positive 10, but negative 10, right? Let's keep going. We did 4th degree, 3rd degree. Next one is 2nd degree. The quadratic term has a coefficient of negative 24. And the next one is x to the 1st degree, which has a coefficient of negative 2. We did all the x's. Let's go ahead and write the constant of negative 8. All right, so are you okay how to set up the synthetic division? This is how you set it up. Okay, we take out all those x's, just write the numbers down. Okay, now watch very carefully. This is going to look a little crazy. What you do is you always just bring down the first number. Okay, and I'll make a note, okay? Bring down the first number without doing anything. So 3. Now you ready to see? Step number 2. I'll try to write down the steps. Multiply 5 by 3 and put 15 under negative 10. Watch this, okay? I'm going to multiply 5 times 3 and I will put that 15 down here. Okay, so that's what I just did. And then when you have numbers on top of each other in a synthetic division, we're going to add these two. Add these two. So I'll go ahead and write down step number 3. Add vertically negative 15 plus 15, and negative 10 plus 15. You will get 5. Okay, now repeat this process until you are done. Okay, so let's see. Next step. Multiply 5 times 5. And we're going to put that 25 under here. And we will add these two numbers vertically, which is 1. Once you have a number down, you're going to multiply 5 times 1 and write down the 5 under the next number. When you have two numbers on top of each other, you will add them. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. So you write down 3 under this line. And it's time for us to multiply again. 5 times 3 is 15. So you write down 15 here. And then you add these two vertically. which is 7. And you are done. Circle this number and call this number a remainder. Uh-oh, I'm out of room. The last number that you get is the remainder, guys. Okay? And let me erase this work so that I can write my answer, So if that's the remainder, what is my quotient? Watch very carefully, okay? I divided 3x to the 4th power by x to the 1st power. If I just pay attention to the degrees, I divided 3x to the 4th power by 1x to the 1st power, right? 3 divided by 1 is 3. But if you focus on x to the 4th divided by x to the 1st, what is going to be the degree of the quotient? 4 minus 1 will give us 3. That's why when we write the quotient, we're going to have 3x to the 3rd power. Okay, so here's the quotient. Let me go ahead and write it down. And I will go ahead and I hope people are watching videos instead of just trying to copy the notes down, because some of the parts, it makes so much more sense it's so much easier if you listen to someone going over it. So here's how we go. Okay, I write the quotient. 3x to the 3rd power. Positive number, right? Plus 5x squared plus 1x. Notice I'm just going down by 1. Okay, you see what's going on here, right? And then lastly, plus 3. And I am done writing down the quotient. That is how you can write the quotient. On the very bottom line of a synthetic division work will give you the coefficients of our quotient. So using those numbers, we can write the quotient by putting x to the 3rd, x squared, and x next to them. Now they did say write the answer in that little special form, so I'll go ahead and do that. So our final answer is like this. Write the quotient first, and then do plus remainder over x minus 5. Remainder is 7, so I'll do 7 over x minus 5. So that is how you use synthetic division to find the quotient and a remainder. Okay, let's practice one more, and I'll ask you to try one problem yourself. This one, there's a little tricky part we have to pay close attention to. It says use synthetic division to find quotient and remainder. I know how to get started. Let me put the box in the corner. And since we are dividing by x plus 2, I'm going to put negative 2 in my little box. And then we're going to write the coefficients on the other side. I'll put the 2 first. Now, 2 was the coefficient of 4th degree. 4th degree, 1 down from 4th degree is 3rd degree. But we have a whoopsie going on here. What's going on? It jumped down to the 2nd degree. So I should make a note over here that this polynomial is missing x to the 3rd term. So in that case, you can think of it as having 0 x to the 3rd term. That makes sense, right? Because it was 0 for the coefficient. 0 times x to the 3rd power just canceled out. That's why they never wrote it. So we have to, in this case, put the 0 as like a placeholder for x to the 3rd power. And then we go down to negative 6 for the x to the 2nd power. And if they just said x, that is x to the 1st power. So that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the coefficient of 5 and 2. Guys, notice this was x to the 4th power. It was a 4th degree polynomial. For 4th degree polynomial, I'll go ahead and write this down. For 4th degree poly, we need 5 numbers. Let me show you what I mean by that. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4s are from x to the 4th, x, this is x to the 4th, x cubed, x squared, and x, and the last number is from constant. So when you are setting up these synthetic divisions, sometimes you will have to put in 0 for missing terms, okay? So if you have a 5th degree poly, then you're gonna need 6 numbers. Okay? All those x's plus the constant, okay? Let's get started on the polynomial division. Bring down the 2, and at one point, you guys are going to get so good at this. You're not going to need me to talk about the next steps. -2 times 2 is -4. And then I add vertically. If I add these two, I get -4. Back to multiplication. -2 times -4 is +8. And if I add them together, I will get 2. Back to multiplying. -2 times +2 is -4. Whoopsie, I almost read with the highlighter. If I add these two together, I will get 1. Almost done. -2 times 1 is -2. Oh, look at that. I'm getting very happy over here. Because if I add these two together, guess what we get? We get 0. So, remainder is 0. Yay! This makes me happy because if remainder is 0, that means this means x plus 2 is a factor because it divided evenly. Just like how you can divide 35 by 7 evenly. Remainder is 0. But okay, that's not the point of this problem. They wanted us to write the answer. So let's write the answer. Notice we started with x to the 4th power. And we divided by 1x to the 1st power, right? So leading coefficient is 2. And the degree of the quotient will be 4 minus 1, 3. So here's the quotient. Here's the quotient. 2x to the 3rd power. What's next? -4x squared. That's a +2, so put plus 2x to the 1st power. And lastly, plus 1. And guys, remember they want us to write it in a form of quotient plus remainder over x plus 2. But because remainder is 0, we're going to get a fraction 0 over x plus 2. So if it's 0 on top, that fraction is just going to cancel out. So my final answer is just the quotient part. That's it. You saw 2 examples. If you want to stop the video and go to the next one, that's fine. But I want you to try this you try problem. What I will do is I will ask you to stop the video, try it, and play again. And when you play again, I will be doing this again. So stop and try this. Hello again. I assume that you stopped. This is so silly, but all right, let's try. I hope you got the right answer. If you just want the answer, fast forward. But I hope you have 2 in the little box. And you have 3, 0 for the missing x to the 3rd power. See, if you do not have a 0 after 3, stop the video, try again for me, okay? -10, -6, and -4. Bring down the 3. Multiply and add. Multiply and add. Multiply and add. And multiply and add. Ooh, remainder is -8. I hope you got that. The quotient is, now, I gotta pay attention to this. We divided x to the 4th power by x to the 1st power. So exponent of the quotient will be 4 minus 1. So I will start with 3x to the 3rd power plus 6x squared plus 2x and minus 2. And well, we found the remainder and the quotient, but if you want to write the answer in the form of quotient plus remainder over what we were dividing by, then we're going to go ahead and write our final answer as 3x cubed plus 6x squared plus 2x minus 2 plus, the remainder is negative, so it will be better if we can write it as minus 8 over x minus 2. So I hope you guys got the same answer. If not, we will talk about more examples of synthetic division in the next coming section. So do not worry, we're going to use this very often. So that is it for the synthetic division part of this lesson.